I'm Paul Mackay, and it's nice to see you. Thank you for coming by the website for Deloris Packard. I'm with my friend Deloris Packard. Hi, Del. Nice to see you.
Hi, Paul. Good to see you too.
If you clicked on this link, it's because you have an interest in some of the writings of Del Packard. Some of you know her as Deloris. I didn't know that was your full name when I first met you when I was working at hospice. We all referred to you as Del Packard, and I was tickled pink to know that you had a longer name than that. Del has written 4 books, and we're going to introduce you to Del today, get to know her a little bit about her background, about what brought her to the place where she's writing. Del, I thought you could take a couple minutes and just introduce yourself. Tell us where you were born, where you were brought up, where you came from. Just, summarize.
Well, hi, I'm Del, or Dolores. My friends call me Del, so
There you go.
that's good. I'm from a little town called Harcourt. That's north of Bancroft, it's right at the bottom tip of Algonquin Park.
Nice.
Yeah, and cottage country. That's where I was born and raised, on a small hobby farm. I'm the youngest of 8 kids. I moved from there. I moved around a lot in my career, working in the resorts and stuff. But I ended up with moving to Belleville about 15 years ago with my mom. My mom came with me. We were roommates. And then when she passed away, I moved up to Sterling. It's
Nice.
just north of Belleville. Yeah. So during the COVID epidemic, I decided to take another look at that book that I've had on the back burner for 20 years and
Tell us about that. Tell us a little bit about what brought you to becoming an author, because this is kind of a new venture in the last 5 years for you.
Yeah.
What brought you to that place?
Well, I went to school in North Bay for hotel, resort, and restaurant management. And when you're in college, you have to buy all these textbooks, many textbooks, but they're all really dry. Like, they're very hard to read. And I've always thought there has to be a more user-friendly type of book that you could write that would be more enjoyable than just reading a dry textbook. So it's sort of always been on the back burner, and I've always sort of thought I could do it. And then when COVID hit, I thought I want to take another look at it. So I pulled it out, and I was thinking, I watched the movie The Titanic, and I'm not much into documentaries. Like, to watch a documentary about a boat sinking, that just doesn't really appeal to me. But then they put a story on top of the story. And I thought, that's cool. I could do that. I could write a story on top of talking about my resort story.
Nice.
So it would sort of give more, the characters and stuff come alive, but they all work in this resort. And I try to tell the story from the back side of the resort. So everybody's invited to the back kitchen table and that kind of thing, where everything happens.
Yep. And you feel like family.
And you feel like family. Yeah. That's why I like resorts better than like hotels or restaurants. I've owned my own restaurant and catering company and stuff, but resorts are fun because they are family.
Yep.
Everybody's welcome to come on in and have a coffee, and yeah.
And there's something cathartic about the cottage country, as you put it, the Muskokas, which is kind of the setting for this book. And the book, incidentally, the first one is called The Inheritance. So tell us a little bit about the writing process for putting the story on paper. And I'll tell you why I asked that question. I happened to sit in on an author's evening a few weeks ago, and the author told how he put that book from brain to paper, and in his process he did it in an outline. So he had an outline form, and when he'd start to write, he'd put the outline here and he'd just transfer it onto the paper. And he said, I knew what the story was going to be from the time I finished that outline. That's how some writers do it. Others start typing, and the story kind of just evolves from your creative side as you go. How did it work for you?
For the first one, for The Inheritance, I did try to have an outline. Very basic, just the skeleton, if you will. And then once I got the skeleton design, then I went back and added my characters. And the second book was a different story. It just kind of flowed by itself. But the first book, I did actually have an outline.
When did you start writing the first one? Was it something that had been started prior to the pandemic, or just a thought process up to that point?
It was just thought process till then. And this is the first time living here in Sterling that I have lived on my own for 15, 20 years.
It's overrated, isn't it?
My mom lived with me for 12 years, And then my niece lived with me for a couple of years. And then, so when I was here, I'm finally alone.
Yep.
And so I thought I'd take a chance and take a look at the book. And now that I'm alone, I'm not going to have as much distractions, and I had the time to.
While we're on that topic, tell me a little bit about the writing itself. Do you write by hand and then transfer to typing? Do you do it audibly and record it? You just type?
No, I just type. Yeah, I just type it out in a Word document, and then I can go back and change things and insert paragraphs and delete things. Yeah.
Is there a time of day that works better for your creative side?
Yeah, I find I live in a complex with 24 other people, and I find that early in the morning or late at night, it's quieter.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had to make myself a playlist too, to try to drown out the external noises.
Yeah.
Because you hear the back door going all the time. It's a busy building, right?
Mm-hmm.
So at first I'm a country girl, so I made a country playlist, and that didn't work at all. Because I was singing along and I was typing out the words to the song. It didn't work at all. So then I thought, well, now what am I going to do? So I made a jazz playlist. I like jazz, but I'm not that familiar with it. But it's all just instrumental. There's no words. It's just jazz instrumental. So it's like elevator music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it can play in the background, which drowns out the external noise and gets me in my own headspace that I can type.
That's perfect. Now, this book came out in 2020, I'm thinking.
21, I think it was. Yeah.
When it was first printed. When did you start the second book in that series? How long after that process?
Well, it took me about 6 months to write The Inheritance.
Mm-hmm.
And then once that was done, then I started on The Nuptials. I don't know if you can see that.
Yep.
The Nuptials carried on from that. It's still the same three sisters in the same resort, but now it just takes them forward. One of the sisters is getting married. It's a beautiful resort, so there's always lots of weddings there. Well, this time it's one of the sisters getting married. But the problem is the other two sisters don't really approve of her choice of husbands. So there's a little bit of drama and conflict going on with that. That one only took me about 3 months to write. It pretty much wrote itself.
Wow. Because
once I had done The Inheritance, I had the resort established and the three main characters and the sub characters. The second one it was all in place, so it was just carrying on with the story. And then the final one, The Sale, two of the sisters have decided that they'd like to sell the resort and go on back to their lives. And of course, one sister doesn't. So it's just a nice, easy drama about three sisters and all their conflicts and bonds and challenges
and fairly realistic. My take on it is when you sit and read the book, you'll feel like you're part of the family. You feel like you're in the room, not necessarily with you writing the story, but with them experiencing the resort. And if I shut my eyes, I can feel almost that I'm arriving at the resort in a snowmobile in the middle of the winter, ready for a weekend away and looking forward to the breakfast buffet. So there you go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The original copy that I sent to the publisher, I had 7 buffets.
Wow.
In detail.
Nice.
And he assured me that, he obviously knew that I knew how to put together a buffet, but we didn't need 7 of them. Right?
Makes me hungry just hearing it.
Right?
That's good. Well, listen, that gives us an idea of kind of who you are and what brought you to the place where you wrote the story. If you've come today if you clicked on this to watch, first of all, thank you for your interest in Del's writing and in this book series. There are 4 books in the series. First one is the Cedar Grove Resort, The Inheritance, then The Nuptials, then The Sale. The 4th book, which we're going to talk about in another video, gets away from that scenario around the resort. And this is more of a nonfiction where it's talking about anticipatory grief, and we will get into that in depth in another video. Thanks, Deloris, for spending some time and letting us get to know you a little bit better.
Oh, thank you so much, Paul.
It's a pleasure. We'll talk to you again.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.